What is going on, YouTube members? If you all have been following along, you all know that Robby has been trying out some different phones, and we have an update in the saga of what phone is Robby going to be using today.
Yeah, so this looks bad. It looks worse than it is. So let me explain myself a little bit. Again, if you've been following along, you kind of know what I've been going through, and if you've read over at the website, I kind of shared some thoughts about Pixel phones and kind of where I am with that. And what it comes down to for me is the fact that Google's not going to launch a flagship phone this year. From what we can tell, it just does not look like that's going to be the case. Probably not going to end up with proper Pixel 5 XL with Snapdragon 865 and 5G and all that stuff. But it looks like if we're going to have a Pixel 5 of some sort, it's going to have that 765 processor that companies like OnePlus is launching that Nord phone in the next week or so. Mid-range, but with 5G and supposedly decent gaming. I tried briefly a phone with these the Samsung A71, and it has that 765G processor in it. Loaded up PUBG, and it was markedly terrible. So I just don't think that's going to be for me. That's not for everybody. For daily use, 765 is probably going to be a fine processor. But if you're wanting to play games, 3D games on your phone, it's probably not going to be an option. So I'm starting to look at this long term and go, okay, well in the fall, normally my safety zone is to play around with some phones and fall back to a Pixel. That's just kind of what I've done the last few years. And it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case this year. And I don't know what's going to be the case because Google's doing all kinds of weird stuff with their phones, and maybe some of it's COVID and some of it's them trying to figure out what people want. They sell mid-range phones really well, so I don't know. Anyway, the next obviously best option for me then is to move to OnePlus, because OnePlus has chosen to kind of go the route of that very Google-centric approach to phones. They do a couple of their own things, but overall it's as close to a Pixel experience as you're going to get from a software perspective. It's just not a bunch of junk on there. It just feels, I can set it up and it feels very pixely. And I've messed with OnePlus phones on and off over the time that I've had Pixel phones. And last year with the 7T, we did a video about it, the 4XL, why I'm not picking it up yet. And ended up still going back to the 4XL for a while. And then when the OnePlus 8 came out, I was kind of like interested. So I got it. And I was pleasantly surprised at how Pixel-like it was. It was a beautiful phone, and I love everything about it. Sure, the camera's not as good, but it's good. The camera is good. It's like a solid B+ kind of camera. And so for me, that's fine. That cameras have come to the point where that's plenty fine for me, and I don't fancy myself a photographer. So I returned mine, and now I'm looking at it thinking possibly I had a lemon. It just constantly dropped Wi-Fi, like all the time. Middle of the game, middle of browsing the internet, and it wouldn't show disconnected. It would just not work anymore. So I'd have to turn Wi-Fi off, and so that ended up being an issue. Like I would drop cast sessions at home while I'm trying to cast media. It would screw up in the middle of playing PUBG or Call of Duty. It would screw up in the middle of just web browsing. So it got really frustrating. Did a full factory reset. That didn't fix it. So I just assumed it was something with the phone and this Wi-Fi chip, and I just was like, Again, I'm going to go back to my safe place. I'm going back to the Pixel 4XL. If you're with T-Mobile, by the way, you can do jump on demand. It's terrible for people like me.
It's bad for Robby.
They don't care. It's basically leasing a phone. So you just walk in and you go, I want that one instead. As long as it's been like 3 or 4 weeks or something. I don't even know if it takes that long. They'll just swap it out. It takes like 15 minutes. You can get another phone. So that's pretty awesome. So I did that with the Pixel 4XL and quickly realized I'd had the OnePlus 8 for what, 7 weeks, something like that. I had it for a little bit. And I think that was enough to kind of detach me from the whole Pixel like safety net. And then so that coupled with the fact that they're not going to have a flagship this year, I used the Pixel 4XL for a few days and realized like I'm not ready to go back to this. Like things felt sluggish, the screen felt small. The display is pretty dim compared to other ones. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. We'll ignore that for now. And so, anyway, all of that led me to saying, okay, I'm ready to move to something else. So if I'm going to go all in on OnePlus, and that's just going to be my phone, then I might as well go to the OnePlus 8 Pro. So this bad boy here. You can only buy it from OnePlus. It is gorgeous. The screen is crazy bright. It's just the OnePlus 8 that I had that I loved, kind of with more of everything, more storage. The processor's the same. And from testing, from other people's testing, the camera is supposed to be a lot better. I've had it for all of a day, not even at this point. And what I can tell you already, well, let me back up. I also, in the process of doing that, went to T-Mobile, and they were having a crazy free line thing for certain customers. So I took advantage of that because I'm going to move one of my kids' lines over to it and have a free line for life. And they had the OnePlus 7T on sale for the new line for $150. So I got the 7T, which just came out in the fall last year. It's on par with the Pixel 4 XL. I got this thing for $150. And so I was like, I'm going to keep this as a backup phone. Maybe at some point bequeath this to one of my kids. You know, my daughter's getting older and she does a lot of stuff on her phone. And like, this would be an awesome phone. I don't have to worry about it, you know, getting old or getting slow. And at the same time, if something were to happen to it, I got $150 invested into it. No big deal. So I got it. And while I was there, I was like, well, I've only had the Pixel 4 XL for a couple days. I'm going to go and return it and get out of it because I'm going to order this OnePlus 8 Pro. They got that returned and kind of cleared my line up, and I was like, well, while I'm waiting on the 8 Pro to show up, I'm going to just use the 7T for a couple days. And I liked it before, but I wasn't over the moon about it when I had it prior. And something happened. I don't know. They fixed some things in some software, I guess, and just overall, the OnePlus experience has gotten so darn good that I kind of just fell in love with this phone. And you can buy it retail straight from OnePlus at this point for $499, and they're throwing in a free pair of their wireless earbuds too. So I kind of made the decision this morning because I like this phone, but it's $1,000, and it has this super duper, I don't know if, yeah, you can see it on this login screen. I mean, the screen just curves way over the edge. I mean, like crazy over the edge, to the point where just trying to hold it and not touch those edges, or like it's doing it right there, and not get accidental touches constantly is very difficult. And that's just in day one. I can't imagine continuing to try to use this for a while. And maybe, a good case, like their built-in case that they sent with it didn't help at all. It's got really low ridges, so it didn't assist in this at all. But that was kind of annoying. And honestly, it was just aggravating enough that I'm like, why am I bothering with this when this $500 or $150 in this case is such a good experience? Gaming's fantastic. The screen is nice and bright. You know, the speakers sound awesome. It's got a 90 hertz screen. It's Snapdragon 855 plus, 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage. I'm like, it kind of has everything in it. And honestly, those are the same cameras that are in the OnePlus 8 that I was fine with anyway. So it's, I don't know. I started looking at it and going, this is kind of difficult to say that I should spend twice the money to get that phone. Still in on the OnePlus thing. I'm still going to kind of rock a OnePlus one way or another at this point. But I'm going to go ahead and send the Pro back because I just think it's overkill when the 7T is this stinking good. And still, if you're going to go get a new line at T-Mobile, you can still get $350 off of it. So it's $150 right now, which is just insane. So yeah, saying goodbye to Pixel Land for a while. I'm hoping maybe next year, once they kind of reshuffle, that they'll bring back a flagship level phone again. But they might not. I don't know. We don't know what Google's doing with their phones at this point. But OnePlus is killing it of late. And so I'm kind of jumping on the OnePlus bandwagon because it's as close to a Pixel as I can get. And they're going to keep cranking out flagship level specs and speed and stuff like that. So yeah, that's where I am.
Stay tuned. We will have more updates on the phone saga. Who knows? Who knows what will happen? Who knows? I think he's going to keep the 7T for a little while. We'll see.